And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. It is Thursday. We're getting closer to Country Radio Seminar coming up here over next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. In fact, our coverage will start Sunday the 12th down by the Omni at Bar Lines. We'll be kind of doing some interviews with some of the artists performing at Bar Lines coming up this weekend. And, of course, our regular schedule into next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at the Omni Hotel. It's Country Radio Seminar 2023, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas, and Gentle Ben Spirits. Final show before we're in Nashville. And for me, you guys know I like to close a week on a big note there when it comes down to it. Of course, we're going to be there on Sunday for the event, but what better way to pass it on around? See how I did that? Jason Michael Carroll on the Backstage Pass. Jason, what's up, brother?
Hey, brother. How are you? Good to see you on here, man. Thanks
Good
for having
me. Good to see you, man. Yes, sir. Always good to see you. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to start right at it and we'll have you play it right out of the box here because to me, it was just kind of that quintessential country song, the things that you put God put their hand on it and it just blossoms into something very, very beautiful. It's just a very terrific country song with, fire and just a little bit of everything when it comes to, celebrating. To me, it was like celebrating a work week, which is great. And I think that's awesome getting to the weekend and being with your friends. Tell us how this one came together and we'll have you play it.
Yeah, my buddy Danny Orton, who actually wrote this song while he was out. I want to say he was out delivering Uber Eats. And he's been a writer in Nashville for a while. And then when COVID hit, everybody had to do their own thing and step up. And he did that to take care of his family. And he wrote this song. And he's been writing like crazy, man. And I was fortunate enough to write a couple times with him. But while we were writing, he said, man, let me play some stuff for you. And this was one of the ones he played for me. I was like, man, if nobody's cut that already, I'd love to. So
I love how it came together. And like I said, I'm sure it had that feel too of just a great down home country song, something the 90s flavor would come out with, something you would have come out with, 15, 20 years ago when your career started too. It's just a great, great, terrific country song.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
I love it. Well, let's have you play it here on the top of the show here. It's Pass It On Around from the great Jason Michael Carroll. Brother, it's all yours.
Just a little bit south of town, a dust cloud still settling down from all us boys chasing tail lights out to the country with a pretty girl shotgun. Each trying us down in the igloo. There ain't much we ain't getting into. Cuddling, kicking back, yeah, got a bling on and get a little crazy. Here we are, here we go on a Friday night, getting down, raising up to the moonlight. Man, now that the week's gone, we can get a drink on. Yeah, pass it on around. Drink a jam by the fire for sundown. Lean it back full of Jack and get in now. That's how we roll it in the backwoods. When you're feeling this good, you gotta pass it on around. Long chair circled up by the creek bank. Rib smoking on the grill, buddy, we ain't messing around, getting loud tonight. Shutting down till the sun come creeping. All the girls got the shakers kicking. All the boys got the thinkers thinking. We ain't done, the night is young still. A lot of time gonna get a little crazy. Here we are, here we go on a Friday night. Getting down, raise it up to the moonlight. Man, now that the week's gone, we can get a drink on. Yeah, pass it on around. Drink a jam by the fire after sundown. Lean it back for the track and get in down. That's how we roll it in the backwoods. When you're feeling this good, you gotta pass it on around. Here we go on a Friday night, getting down, raise it up to the moonlight. Man, now that the week's gone, we can get a drink on. Yeah, pass it on around. Drink a jam by the fire for sundown. Lean it back full of drink, take it in now. That's how we roll it in the backwoods. When you're feeling this good, you gotta pass it on around. That's how we roll it in the backwoods. When you're feeling this good, you gotta pass it on around. You gotta pass it on around. gotta pass it on around. You gotta pass it on around.
There it is. Jason Michael Carroll on the Backstage Pass. Pass it on around. It came out January 27th. So you guys, I'm sure, have checked that out. If you haven't, what are you waiting on when it comes to country music? You need to go check that out and download and stream across all those digital platforms. And of course, we'll come back, talk a little bit of everything too, especially what's on tap for 2023. We're talking before the show, and there's a lot more. Musicians never their laurels here on the Backstage Pass. They're always putting out and working on more music here. Of course, more with Jason here on the show. Word from our sponsors for Country Radio Seminar 2023. Well, the 50th at the Omni Hotel. We'll take a time out for our friends over at Gentle Ben Spirits and, of course, Bangtail Whiskey. Be right back on the show. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, Jason Michael Carroll joining us here. Final show before we hit Nashville coming up this weekend. And you guys know me, there's three things I want to do. Hattie B's, hot chicken, the Grand Ole Opry, and I'm sure I'm going to find a great Mexican restaurant. I'm going to get Jason's opinion on that as we kind of get into the final segment of the show today to do. Have fun up there. And definitely the Grand Ole Opry is something I'm going to do. I tell you what, brother, again, talking about the single, Pass It On Around, which is out there across all the digital platforms. Tell me about 23, what you're most excited about, because I know you were talking about, being busy today. Me always saying musicians never rest on their laurels when it comes down to it. And there's always something new, something fresh, keeping the audience engaged in what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, as much as you can, the excitement for 23 and new music.
Always writing. I'm always writing. That's one of my favorite things to do. And now that we're out of this COVID umbrella, we're actually getting a chance to go back to Nashville and hang out with a lot of my friends that I do a lot of writing with. So we've been working really hard trying to get some new music written. I was in Nashville for about a week and a half at the beginning of February, and the week before Super Bowl. And I was there, I think I was there for 7 or 8 days. And I was there a week and a half, but I wrote for 7 or 8 days. And I think we got one extra song more than the days we were there. So I think either if I was there 7 days, we got 8 songs. If I was there 8 days, we got 9. So, and they were all pretty good songs. So I've been sitting here in my studio at home now in North Carolina working on some demos for him. So that's what I've been working on.
Mm-hmm. I love that too. And of course, the demos turn into something great out there too. And I tell you, I always love to bring up the past, man, because I know you guys are back there. It looks like touring is picking up again when it comes to live shows, or if not a tour, at least some live show appearances out there for honky tonks, bars, fairs, and festivals. Talk about just what it's like to be back on stage again. And I guess I've seen people check the website. I always tell them to do that because shows could come up at any time.
Check the website, check my socials. That's where a lot of the stuff gets posted. Facebook, Instagram, Jason Michael Carroll on Instagram, Jason Michael Carroll on Facebook, at JMC Official on Twitter. And then I'm on Snapchat, Jason Michael Carroll Music. So, yeah.
I haven't used that one in a long time. There's somebody say the Snapchat. It's been a while since I've been on that one. This TikTok thing, man, is taking off. It's crazy how much is going on with this TikTok thing. You find anything on there that kind of suits the bill?
Yeah, I'm Jason Michael Carroll music on there as well, and I've got I'm starting to figure it out. My daughter is going to college for social media marketing and stuff, so she keeps getting on me for not posting enough on TikTok, but I'm trying to figure it out. You know, I figured there was all these other platforms. I thought I was doing good getting on those, and now I'm behind the eight ball on trying to tackle another one. So, and I'm like, babe, I write music. You know, I'm like the dancing monkey. There's people that post, and there's people that work behind the scenes and book me and stuff. I write the songs and sing them. You know, so
that's what a good musician's supposed to do, no doubt. Hey, tell me about this wave of talent now, whether it be any reality show out there. I want to get your opinion on this because, man, country music seems like it's more healthy now than it maybe was, 5 or 7 years ago. But this new wave of talent, whether it be women or men, just multi kind of just generational out there, just some young talent coming up. I featured a lot of it here on the show over the last few months and into the last 3 or 4 years I've been doing this platform. But it feels like country music is healthy once again. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It's growing, and it's becoming more and more popular. Go figure. I was ahead of the curve on that one. And so to be able to see all this talent coming up between and the different types of talent, I mean, Hardy's new record's really good. If you look at the nuances in that, from the first half of the record being country and being lowercase to the second half being rock and roll and capital letters, which I thought was pretty unique marketing on that as well. And then Morgan Wallen's new album, which I think there's like 7 songs written by Ernest on there. And Ernest, one of my favorite songs is the 3rd track on there. It's Everything I Love, and he samples like One More Silver Dollar. He samples Marshall Tucker Band, and he samples Alabama. So it's pretty neat to see what happens in that in the new music that's coming out. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, part of it too. I think there's a lot of people. There's a Texas artist down there killing it. His name is David Adam Burns. He used to be in Nashville there for a long time, and of course now he's bringing back a lot of the traditional '90s style. I just saw him at a little show we went to a couple of months ago around Thanksgiving, somewhere in there. But I see a lot of these artists now kind of going back to the Merle Haggard, Conway Twitty, just bringing back what's true to their roots, and I think that's a good thing for the industry. Not that there's bad songs out there. I'm not saying there's bad songs. They're all great songs, and they're all great in their own unique way. But this older style of country, Conway, and like I said, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, some of this stuff's starting to make a comeback now.
Oh, totally. And that I think that just goes to prove that good music is going to stand the test of time. It's not going to matter. I think for about 10 years, we went through a spell in country music where a lot of the stuff that we were hearing on the radio was fun and it was nice, but I don't think they're going to be songs that stand the test of time, and I think now we're starting to get back into some of those, and you've got certain artists that every now and again come out and they release one that just like, wow, that it just hits you right between the eyes. So, I think that we're coming back into that right now. And there's some really talented people that are kind of leading that charge. So we'll see what happens.
You mentioned stand the test of time, and I hear the stories every day, and there are some good stories, some struggles, some things in there about people moving to the town. I call it a 10-year town, but some people may not get the break until year 11, year 12. Some do it inside the 10 rule. But I wanted to get your opinion on what's the most challenging part of this business.
Oh man, when I was touring with Brooks and Dunn, we were out on the road. I think we were in Arizona at the time, and I was on my way to the gym with Ronnie that day, and his son JW, and we connected because I've got a son named JW as well, and we connected that day, and we were out on the way to the gym, and Ronnie asked me the same question. He said, "What's going on in the business, Jason? What do you feel? How are things going?" And I said, Ronnie, I'll be honest with you. I said, I'm not certain. I'm not sure what's going on with the label. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, they want me to cut my hair and they want me to do this." And I was a cowboy hat, what they call a hat act before I ever got to Nashville. And then when I got there, oh, don't wear the hat, and I'm like, I just don't know where I draw the line in. And Ronnie stopped me. He goes, Jason, he said, be who you are, because that's what brought you here. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the biggest keys is people forget that they get attention in the town. And then when they start getting that attention, they let those people that I call yes men, come and change things, and it's only because those people have to make a mark themselves, or else they're not proving that they're worth their salt. So what's happening is they're going to these new artists and saying, well, you need to dress this way, or you need to cut your hair, you need to look like this, when what got their attention wasn't what they were looking at. So yeah, I think it's interesting to see the change, and I think that sometimes artists tend to fall into that rut of, well, I'm in Nashville and I've got to make it. If you're getting their attention, you've already made it. So
yeah. That's kind of like a ball player on the field too. There's so many scouts out there in the stands, and I used to be one of them there, kind of like pro baseball, working in it too. Is somebody's good, it's going to get the attention to somebody else too, and you made it. You're in pro ball, you're a professional, you're a paid professional, and somebody's got eyes all around you and technology to kind of find you too. Radar guns, things like that for baseball, and of course all the other equipment for football. If you're good, somebody's going to draft you. They're going to find you, and that's why I love how music and sports very much integrate themselves together very well. It's a couple of great things, no doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely going to ask you about how the songs have been doing. I mean, I know the legendary 2 songs, Alyssa Lies, Living Our Love Song. I mean, seriously, for me, 2 great country songs that live on, and I'm sure have to be still even today. You guys put them in the set list because they're a part of you. They always will be, right?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how those 2 have really hit. I mean, I had a lady contact me on social media, I think on Facebook or something, a couple weeks ago, that told me that she just got her daughter just got married last week and used "Living Our Love Song" as their wedding song. And that song is go figure. That song is 3 years from being 20 years old. So isn't that nuts?
Makes me really feel my age right now too. I just had a birthday.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's 20 years. My goodness, crazy enough. And then you listen to something like you mentioned too, Alyssa Lies, and the struggles and the things that people go through. The story that you told in that one too, which was very, very, very sentimental and very heartbreaking too at the same time. But people really listen to that too, and if people want something to get emotional over, or going through anything in life, or maybe have gone through something like this, that's a song too that really just puts life really in its place, because we can't ever take a day for granted.
You can't. And I think that those things, unfortunately, a lot of us we're there's things that happen that mold us into who we are. And the way I grew up was pretty it was rough by a lot of people's standards, but it was what I knew as normal. And so I have a hard time, I could sit here and wish this and wish that, and, wish I had a nicer truck in the driveway, or wish I had $1 million. But, at the same time, those things make me who I am, and I think that story and the way I grew up, why I wrote Alyssa Lies is part of who I am. So I have a hard time going back and saying, I wish things would have been different,
Yeah, no, it's, again, great country songs that live on forever. I want to go back to one of your last albums you did, because I really still enjoy listening to it even today. And we talk about just how time gets away from us. I've heard people, bring that up a lot too. You mentioned about, 20 years old there for Living Our Love Song. What Color is the Sky was a great album. I still listen to it even today. And I love that title track, my friend. And I think that's just some great country music too at the same time. Just kind of reflect for the audience a little bit, I guess, the highlights of making a great record there, who you got to work with. I know there's great writing on that record, a song called Does He Know, which is one of my favorites off that too.
It was amazing to, I wrote most of that record with my buddy Pete Good and AJ Babcock. And those guys are phenomenal writers, and about it, kind of one of those things, we just clicked. We started writing well together, and then everything that we wrote from then on, we just knew that we were going to come up with something good. So I loved writing with those guys. AJ is still writing in Nashville, and just found out he was going to be a daddy, I guess a couple weeks ago. And Pete is now one of Shane McNally's top writers. And it was amazing, to see the change when we were writing together. I remember there was moments when we were all thinking, okay, I don't know if Nashville's working for me anymore, and Pete was at one point thinking about moving back home to South Dakota. And I told him, I said, man, look, and I'm not saying I'm the reason he stuck around, because the guy is phenomenal. He's a talented writer on his own. He doesn't need me to blow smoke. But I told him, I said, man, you're a great writer. This is where you need to be. and now he's one of Shane McNally's top writers at his publishing company. So, I mean, he's out there writing for Parker McCollum, writing for like all these up and comers that we just talked about. So, yeah, it's been pretty cool to see the turnaround, and you just got to believe, you got to stick with it.
That's a big part to keep the grind going. There was one on there that led off the record for What Color Is Your Sky? All I'm Drinking About. I thought that was told a good story there, no doubt. Tell us about that one too, kind of the little backstory.
That story, that song actually turned out to be pretty cool. I wanted to write I wanted to write a spaghetti western type song, and by that I mean I wanted a whistle in the song. I wanted a song that had a whistle in it. And actually I think we might have broke the mold or started that trend, because in Nashville, like 6 songs after we released that record, and it wasn't mainstream, obviously, it was independent, but 6 songs after that came out with whistles that year. And so I was like, oh, we started that. And then I got a message on Instagram. And, you never know whose message you go on Instagram, so if it's a scam or what it is. And these guys said they wanted to cut one of my songs. I said, oh, which one? And they wanted to cut All I'm Drinking About. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm looking them up. I'm like, well, we'll just go through the pub company. He says, well, yeah, we want to reach out to you first, get your approval before we do that. And I was like, well, I mean, if you reach out through them, I'm fine with it. And I said, do you? And he said, we've recorded it already. We just wanted your permission. I'm like, you recorded already? And they are a pop band out of Italy. And they did a pop version of my song, All I'm Drinking About. And you can find it. It's by the Boosted Kids. And this is before the vaccine and all that mess that, that came out. So they are from Italy, and they're called the Boosted Kids. And they did a cover of All I'm Drinking About. And it's a pop song. And I was like, holy crap, I'm international.
International now, with a great song off there too.
Writer.
Love that. You also had one off of there too, which is another one that just you talk about one that caught my attention. I still listen to today. Civil War. That's one right there that just can put things in perspective too, right?
That song, I wanted to write something. Actually, that was going to be the title of the record, and I wanted to do this really cool kind of album cover that was very Fleetwood, not Fleetwood Mac, very Pink Floydish. I was the guy where the guy's shaking hands with the guy that's on fire. That album cover. Yeah, I was going to be standing in the middle of a street and of a suburban street and everything. And one side was going to just look disheveled and just messed up and like smoke and stuff. And the other side was going to look like suburbia, and that was going to be the album cover. It was a Civil War. I wanted that to be the title track. And because I never got to shoot the album cover, the photo that I wanted to be able to work it in Photoshop. We went ahead and called it What Color Is Your Sky? And my buddy Brett, who has done my last 3 videos, including Meet Me in the Barn, and did Tell Me Your Name, and we did a Close Enough. And Brett actually took the photo at his house, behind his house, when he's like, just sit down. Took a photo and then threw it all together in Photoshop. I was like, all right, well, then I guess that's the album cover.
Things come together quick, too. Just great music there. If you guys want to check it out, What Color Is Your Sky? Across all the digital platforms. I tell you what, dealer's choice. Let's do another one here and have you play another one for us here on the show. What you got?
Oh, so all right. Well, let me see. This is a song that where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so you guys know about A List of Lies and the story behind that, why I wrote it. Well, the story is about my dad and I and the way I grew up. For years, I didn't talk to my dad, and there's a folded flag with my dad's Marine Corps photo. It was on my mantle, but now it's right there. And so for several nights, I would get drunk in my house and yell at that photo and that flag, because I felt like my dad and I did not get a lot of we missed a lot of time. So I wound up thinking about that, and it kind of pushed me to a point where I got this idea for a song called Argue with the Walls. And even though I tell the story about A List of Lies, I finished up by saying my dad was a great granddad to my kids, and so I really miss him. And So this is something that I wrote with a buddy of mine named James Kelly when I would get drunk and yell at that picture of my dad. Here's a song called Argue with the Walls. Walking through the halls of our old home, probably best not to be alone. Probably shouldn't have stayed till that last call, cause now I'm in the mood to talk. But there's no use talking to these friends about good times, cause the problem with a picture is it only tells one side. Didn't we look so happy, don't we, don't she? I thought we were. I was wrong all along, and now that she's gone, I think I finally see her. Even though no matter what I say, she'll still be right. Yeah, I've had enough drinks and it feels like it's a good thing night to argue with the wall. I know that I could have listened more, did everything that she was waiting for. Never knew we were headed for the storm till she walked out the door. I could stand here yelling at reflections all night long, but I know the only voices that I hear are gonna be my own. Didn't we look so happy, don't we, don't she? I thought we were. I was wrong all along, and now that she's gone, I think I finally see her. Even though no matter what I say, she'll still be right. Yeah, I've had enough drinks and it feels like it's a good thing night to argue with the walls. I guess picture perfect isn't always what it seems. If I'd have seen that, then maybe she'd be here with me. But didn't we look so happy, don't we, don't she? I thought we were. I was wrong all along, and now that she's gone, I finally see her. Even though no matter what I say, she'll still be right. Yeah, I've had enough drinks and it feels like it's a good dang night to argue with the walls. To argue with the walls. To argue with the walls.
Gotta love it right there, too. Great writing, Argue with the Walls. Jason Michael Carroll here on the Backstage Pass. Again, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas, and, of course, Gentle Ben Spirits out there. The vodka, the gin, the bourbon, fantastic, gentleben.com, and also Bangtail Whiskey, bangtail.com or easyliquor.com, or if you're in Nashville this week, Total Wine and Specs. I'm going to have to go by and get me a little some of that. Bring it to the booth because we're going to be in Nashville at Country Radio Seminar. Take a little swig, especially a sore throat. If you're talking all day, Jesse, you got a little shot to kind of get it to filter down and let it just work out all the kinks of the voice, because I'll be doing about 60 shows coming up next week there, too. It's a lot of shows for 1 week of interviews coming up next week, too. Some great names with us, T.G. Shepard, T. Graham Brown, Ty Herndon, of course, Stephanie Quayle, Walker Montgomery. The list goes on and on. We're going to come back, put the finishing touches here on the show with Jason here on the Backstage Pass, again live on the YouTube channel and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Word from our sponsors. Stay tuned. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And if you want a bottle of that, bangtail.com or easyliquor.com or Nashville, Florida, Old Red, I know down there in Orlando, Blake's Place down there. It's in the great restaurant there, or bangtail.com or easyliquor.com. Fastest way to get you a bottle of Bangtail whiskey. Back here on the show, the Backstage Pass with Jason Michael Carroll, talking music, having a good time as we get into Country Radio Seminar 2023 at the Omni, March 12 to 15. A lot of great interviews lined up. Be on the lookout to see if your favorite artist is coming on the show. All right, I got to put a little wrap on it too. Again, the latest single, Pass It On Around, is out there across all the digital platforms, and for all the other good stuff, give him a like on socials if you haven't already, and check out jasonmichaelcarroll.com. As far as fun, as far as, I guess, hobbies away from music, I know you love your workout fiend just like I am. I love it, even if it's getting out of bed doing 25 or 30 push-ups in the morning to get things rolling, to get, I guess, the endorphins flowing, I guess you could say. Any other hobbies that maybe some people don't know about in the JMC camp?
I love to work out, like you said, but I love golf, and I've gotten my game down to about the mid 80s,
Wow.
I broke 83 times last year, and thought I was a golfer, and then went out and shot a 90. So that it's a very humbling sport, but I love golf. It's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun there, no doubt. All right, is there a cheat day in there? And if there is, what's some of the favorite foods? Do you like to cook?
Oh, I cook all the time. My wife says that her ex-husband came home from work one day, and she worked a 12-hour shift at the hospital, and she made a lasagna. When he walked in the door, he said, "What's that smell?" She said, "I made a lasagna." And anybody that cooks knows a lasagna is a 3-hour process. I mean, no matter if you get the instant noodles or whatever, it's a 3-hour process. And he said, "Oh, I'm not feeling that." And we got a Burger King, so she never cooked again. So when we got together, she said, "Look, I don't cook." I said, "Perfect, I do, because cooking is kind of like therapy to me. I get my mind off everything. You have to pay attention to what you're doing when you cook." So I enjoy cooking. It's kind of another one of my hobbies, I guess. Yeah.
I love that. All right, latest show to binge watch. What are you getting into?
Oh man, all over the place. I like the show The Sinner on Hulu. Or is it Netflix? I think so. It might be Netflix. I don't know.
Might be Netflix, yeah.
I like that show. I like. I was a big Dexter fan. I'm still upset. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I'm still upset. And then I've so many people are telling me I've got to get involved in these other shows, and I've been spending so much time writing and up here making demos. So this is kind of what I do. So it's hard for me to get involved in the show.
Yeah, no doubt. I think there's two for me. It's the Last of Us on HBO Max, which has come out, the apocalyptic.
I played both those games. I'm a gamer. I love those.
You're a gamer? You and I got to play sometime. We got to do a little play, which I'm not good at it, but I try to get lost in it too, and have to find my way around with the map in there too. And then of course I love the Bryan Cranston stuff on Showtime, Your Honor, which is really good out there. It's starting to be a weekly or season 2, whatever.
I love Breaking Bad. That was great. Yeah, and a buddy of mine, he's a veteran friend of mine. He plays Call of Duty all the time. So the two of us, when we play multiplayer, it's a very colorful game.
Yeah, that's the Breaking Bad's a good one. Better Call Saul was something I got into a while back, which was a little bit off the Breaking Bad series, which is just so much good stuff out there. And then I want to try to sit down and watch some other finish like Schitt's Creek and stuff like that. But it's hard to get them all in a weekend or something like that. But I'll tell you one I will finish when it comes on, and I find out it comes out. Cobra Kai was the martial arts thing, because I'm a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo. Grew up with that, especially the last 6 years of being involved with that. Karate Kid fan, so that definitely was going to get me hooked. And of course, the original actors coming back, Ralph Macchio and some of the other ones doing their
I was a big Karate Kid fan. My wife is actually a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. She was the Ohio and West Virginia state champion when she got pregnant with our son. Yeah.
How about that? And when she still get pregnant and still find a way to march on, no doubt about it, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I love this single. I wish you nothing but the best of luck coming out this year. We got to do this again when new music comes out. You're always one of my favorites here on the show. Pass It On Around is across all the digital platforms. Go get the stream numbers up even higher than they already are right now. And check him out at JasonMichaelCarroll.com. Jason, looking forward to connecting, brother, some point. We'll be in Nashville, I know, next week at the CRS. And continued success going forward. Always appreciate you jumping on with us.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you having me.
You got it. One of the best out there, Jason Michael Carroll. Pass it on around, of course, and we're going to pass it on around to Nashville, Tennessee. We'll talk to you guys on Sunday, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. Honky Tonk Texas, Gentle Ben Spirits. I can tell you we'll be hanging out at Barline somewhere down there and get involved in something. We don't know what it is. We'll be drinking, eating, having a good time. And, of course, Monday morning at 9 o'clock, it kicks off the coverage, all-day coverage there at Country Radio Seminar 2023. So tune in via YouTube, the website, and all the socials out there, too, as well. You never know. We may have a surprise guest like Jason could jump in. You never know. That's part of it. We'll talk to you guys Sunday from Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, here on the Backstage Pass. Until then, have a terrific night. See you soon.